Hi, Thomas. Team news?
Team news. What's the team news? The team news is that we got a new English national team player, right? In Jet Spence, isn't it? Isn't that team news? Isn't that? Oh, you're now surprised you didn't expect that.
You've got me there.
Which I mean actually is, wow, how good is that? So big credit to Jet. He truly deserved it. It's been a tough, not tough. It's been what a journey to have it as 24 years old, turning 25 this year, being called up. I don't think many saw that coming. He had a good end to last season. He had a top pre-season. He played very well in three games against PSG, City, and Burnley. Really giving a lot to the team, so I'm so happy for him.
Spurs supporters are very, very happy today.
Yeah, why? Because of Jet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, can you confirm the signing of Xavi Simons?
I can confirm that we're working very hard to get someone over the line. That I can confirm. But right now, I'm happy to speak more about Jet and other players that are inside the Tottenham squad.
Okay, there's nerves because of obviously other deals, but do you think the fans potentially might get good news later today then?
I hope they get good news later today for various reasons, because we are trying to sign players, and that we will try to do to the end of the transfer window. Of course, as I said many times in these meetings, press conferences, there's been a lot on, okay? We are out in the market. We'll try to see if we can improve the squad, but only if we can improve the squad. If not, I'm happy with the players. They're working hard.
Can I just get one potential outgoing, Thomas?
Yeah.
Yves Bissouma was in talks with Galatasaray earlier in the week. Where is that now? There were reports of a potential injury issue. Can I get a clarification?
The how can I say, the squad news is also that Bissouma can't make the game tomorrow, and right now it's the same. Bissouma is Tottenham player.
Finally, have you fallen in love early? Just confirmation.
Fall in love early.
Tottenham.
Yeah, let me put it this way: I'm very happy here. I knew that before. It's a great club, but get to know players, staff, fans. So yeah, very happy.
Charlie.
Hi, Thomas. Just going back to team news, Destiny Udogie, could he be featuring tomorrow?
Yes, he could. Thank you for that question. Des will be in the squad tomorrow, so that's very positive for all of us.
Just going back to Shed, you mentioned how up and down of a time he has had here at Spurs. And I know Thomas Tuchel said, look, he ended last season really well. He started this season really well. I just wanted to get an insight into his mentality. What have you seen from him from that point of view in terms of being able to really ride those sort of stormy sort of seasons, really?
I think Jed is a fantastic example for a lot of players, not only here in Tottenham but also other places, that everything is possible if you are resilient, can get through the tough spells that is in football and life, and be very disciplined and keep going, training well, keep believing in your own abilities, keep going if it's on a very rainy day. I think that's big credit to him, and a great example. Those stories I think we should all appreciate and be happy for.
João Palhinha has received a lot of praise, and rightly so, since returning back to the Premier League. I know you can't speak about who the club may reveal later on today as a new signing, but if you are to add an attacking midfield in particular to this squad, how highly would you rate your midfield options for this season?
So you're talking about João. Yeah, so yeah, let me put it this way. I think we got a very good midfield. I like the 5 midfielders we have six we have, sorry. In Archie, Lucas, Bissouma, João, Rodri, and Pape. Very happy with them. No doubt we have the creativity in Madison and Kulusevski, which is out right now. So I think that's very transparent that they are out. So of course that's a skill set we need to find either in some other players like Kudus or Wilson or Mati. So I think the midfield is strong. And again, can we sign something that can improve the squad? We'll be happy.
Thanks, Thomas.
Ian.
Hi Thomas, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
You told me a month ago when we had the very first press conference with you, the one certainty was that you were going to lose games. You haven't lost any games yet. You've won every single game you've played. So does that show that your coaching skills are better than even you thought, or that maybe the squad was better than you thought when you joined?
I think both the squad is fantastic and I'm fantastic, so I think that's very simple. No, we have a strong plan to try to win tomorrow again against Bournemouth. Got a big belief that we are capable of doing it. We're facing a very good team, and Iola have done a top job in his coaching staff. They just lost 4 of their back 5, including the keeper, for this season, and just continue producing good performances. I watched their game live against Liverpool. I watched it one more time over the last 2 days. They were very good. They could easily have got something out of that game against the champions. They play a very, how can you say, not only direct, but they play very, through the lines and behind you. So it's very difficult to defend and difficult to press them. Because they go over the top or behind us or against every team. So they're a really, really difficult team to play against. They had a fantastic season last year. So we need to show them huge respect. And we need to show huge respect in the defensive side of the game. Be very good in that aspect, because I'm convinced we will create something. But if we don't run and don't defend and don't show the respect, we'll have massive problems tomorrow against Bournemouth. So if we do that, come out with that energy and the positive feeling we have, then I'm very confident that we can win the game. But I'm very aware that we're going to a difficult task.
There are some managers in the Premier League, I won't name them, who seem to be absolutely wedded to one system. I'm only playing this, regardless of what it is, and if they go over a cliff because of it, so be it. You seem to swap systems not only for games, but within games. How much is that your philosophy, and how much difficult is that for players, because it doesn't seem that difficult at the moment?
I think the big thing, I'm very clear on the principles we have in terms of how we want to play. So let's say high pressure, I'm big on the man. Let's say defending low, there's some zonal principles in defending the box, but also how we want to attack, there's also some clear principles there. But then I think you can tweak it a little bit with the systems. You can also tweak it in a system with different positions and different players in different positions. So that I'm very open about and aware. And with the coaching staff backing, we hopefully find good solutions.
Finally, expectations. I mean, if you go into the international break having won 3 out of 3, certain Spurs fans will be very excited, and especially with the Champions League kicking off. And I'm interested in your thoughts on the draw on that as well. How do you manage expectations with the Premier League and the Champions League, which is going to be starting soon?
That's a good question. But right now, I'm 100% focused on do our best to win tomorrow. And can we win? It'll be a fantastic start to a new season. Then a lot of the players, actually all of them, will go away and play for their countries and hopefully make their countries proud and their families. I'll take a break and then we're ready to kick on again. And then I'm definitely looking forward to what's happening after that.
Ali. Hi there, Thomas. Speaking of international call-ups, Richarlison has been called up to the Brazil squad. How kind of pleased are you for him, of course, but also how important is it for Brazil to kind of keep the way you guys have been building him up nicely, fitness-wise?
I think very happy for Richie. I think he's well deserved to start the season very strongly. 3 strong games, 3 strong performances. Hopefully he can carry it into the game tomorrow. Of course, play for Brazil is big, and I think it's good they play. The more they play, the fitter they will get, and the stronger they will be. So I think that's positive.
Just a couple of injuries. I just want to check on kind of maybe timelines, if you can, for Basuma being one of them, and also Radu Dragic. When are you expecting him to be able to kind of join back in with things?
I think Basuma, one thing for sure, he's out for the next game. And then the specific timeline I'm a little bit in doubt of, because I don't think it'll be that long. Dragusin is on the way back, and he's been running for a while. I think he should join the team. What is it, in a week time, 10 days time? I think that's the thing. So that's positive. But of course, it is ACL. I'm always a little bit more not worried, but just aware that it takes time. We've been out of football for 9 months. You need to get in. It's not enough to have a 6-week preseason. You need to take a little bit more time. But it's positive, and some surprise and come back quick, of course.
I think this might be the last time I get to speak to you before you name your Champions League squad as well. In the past, Spurs have had some issues with the European squad and having too many players. Have you got some kind of decisions on your hands over who might have to be left out if the current numbers stay the same?
As I understand it, we still have a minor challenge there. So that, of course, decision will be made in due time.
Jay, please.
Hi, Thomas. I just got another one on Jed. How did you find out that he'd been called up, and have you spoken to him directly about it?
Yes, we found out that when it was announced at 12 o'clock. So luckily we started training 12, so someone came out straight after. He, as I understood it, received a text earlier today. So we, of course, I can say congratulated him in front of the players, and there was applause and hugs and everything, and spoke to him after and said, well deserved, and I hope you'll enjoy it. Let's keep up the good level and keep the focus for the game tomorrow, and then go in and enjoy being part of an England squad. And I asked if he was going in to call his family, and he was about to do that.
What specific qualities do you want from someone who plays in the central attacking midfield role, whether that's someone new or someone who is already in the squad?
I think it depends a little bit the game. Because let's say we play away to City, and I think depend the game and the other players around, because you can have two very offensive-minded sitters that are very forward-going, and then you maybe need more of a runner in a 10. Then you can have 3 front players where they are unbelievable runners, or one of them is a little bit more creative. So I think I'm not looking in one specific position what I want from the 10 position, because what I want for that position, I don't think it's possible to get him, because he would be a running machine, pressing machine, unbelievable creative, can do headers, can put it in the top corner, a lot of tap-ins, That would be the perfect players. There are not too many of those players, so I need to be a little bit pragmatic. And if we have a very, let's say, offensive 10, then maybe we need a little bit behind. If we don't have that, then we need a little bit, so the construction of the midfield, I would say.
You obviously like players that can play in multiple positions. Does it ever reach a point in that player's career where they need to specialise or stick to one particular role?
You think? I think if you, that's a good question. I think when we see players performing their best, most likely to play one position. Noah is 10, a right wing, or striker, or centre back. But these days we can see centre backs also play as a full back. Some midfielders play 10, sometimes they play 6. So I think it is when they go towards their peak, if that makes sense, that's where they should settle into to that position. That's not the same that they can't play across a front 4 or front 3. Also, the modern football, I think they are much more flexible now. The front 3 now need to be playing on the wings, the striker as a 10.
Finish with George, please.
Hi, Thomas. There's a certain player from Amsterdam we believe is on the other side of the building, and you can almost feel the excitement, in the place. And yourself, it feels like, how kind of chuffed are you that Spurs are really, really close to signing a brilliant player?
I think that we are close to sign someone, but let's see. as I said, just as a go-to, make it so much easier. I speak about the players. That's why I'm very happy that I found out to say that in Brentford and kept it consistently. So I'll be very boring in that, and unfortunately, just say I want to speak about the players in-house, and everyone else outside of our team, I'll not speak about it unless it's Messi and Ronaldo. And the good thing is they're soon retiring, both of them. So that makes it very simple.
And just to go back to last week, afterwards you spoke about how you really wanted the team to push for that third goal, which didn't come. Obviously, you got a brilliant 2-0 victory. Is that kind of your natural tendency to always want to push for another goal, or is that kind of trying to sort of align with the club's philosophy, which has always kind of been that?
I think I would always say I had an offensive mindset as a coach. Always, try to push to play more offensive, try to go for the next goal. I agree, it aligns perfect with the club's values and the history of the club. So I had it, since I started as a young coach, as a youth national team coach, Brøndby. But when I came to Brentford, I actually got an extra notch. I know it's not a big club, but the ownership, especially in Matthew and Phil and Rasmus, were big on that. Also, all statistics, everything said that if you went for the next goal, it was more likely you get 3 points instead of you get 2 defensive. So that was just a line. So because they were so big on it as well, there was a lot of good discussions and thought process behind. Also with your subs, what do? Do you sub a striker with a midfielder, or do you sub a striker for a striker? I think that's offensive, so you go for the goal. Of course, we all know sometimes you maybe change. I have no problem changing to a 5-3-2, but you still have 2 strikers on the pitch. And I have no problem to play a more offensive of the 3 if it's possible. That all depends, but definitely we'll go for the goal always.
And obviously, Champions League draw was last night, and I guess a little bit of everything in there. Big teams, some familiar teams for the squad, and obviously a Danish club as well. What did you make of it?
Overall, I thought okay draw. It's sometimes we draws, they can look very bad on paper, or they can look very good. But at the end of the day, it's how we perform against these teams, and we know Champions League for every team, no matter if it's PSG or Dortmund or a club that is not as big, Slavia or Copenhagen. It's the biggest game of the biggest games of the season. So that will be tough. Of course, I'm happy that it was Copenhagen. I thought that could be good. I wanted them in Parken. That could be even probably more difficult, if I'm honest. But it'll be difficult no matter what, and it's nice when you have good colleagues that you're facing them.
Tom?
Hi Thomas. Back to Jed. When Thomas Tuchel took over, he reached out to about 50 players, including James Maddison. Jed said he wasn't one of them when we spoke to him last season. I just wondered, in your mind, from watching from afar and obviously this season, what you think has changed? And have you actually spoken to Thomas Tuchel in the lead up to Jed's call?
I've spoken to Tuchel, but not about Jed actually. So that was before. I think Justin gives such a top example of in football it goes so quick, and we need to remind ourselves about it, and the players need to remind themselves about it sometimes, especially when now the team clearly a coach was talking about the 12 players I need to manage that's not in the team. Okay, I need to explain them that he can go quick. But with his performances, suddenly he's just in the picture because he is athletic. Now I'm guessing, I don't know, I have spoken to Tuchel about this. Athletic, quick, 1v1 defensively, exceptional good. Look at the performances he's done against PSG and also Burnley and City. Top wingers he's taking out. And when he's bombarding forward, it's very difficult to catch him. And he's, just a great type. He can play both sides, left and right. So, yeah, very good player.
Arguably his best performance last season came against your Brentford team back in February.
I erased that. All games we lose, I can't remember them.
Well, I just wondered, if you can't remember, then fair enough. But
Yeah, no.
that day, he took most people their breath away watching how well he played. It really did sort of sum up how far he'd come.
Yeah.
Did you notice, even though you were opposite as you managed that day,
He-
real talent?
Definitely noticed that it was difficult for Brian on the day to go past him. No, he's good yet. I actually followed him, since the championship days when Brentford, he was already on the radar there back then.
And obviously it's been a fantastic start. The team looks so obviously well put together, but just fighting for everything. Forgive my language, but before you famously talked about the New Zealand no policy. Just wondered what in your mind constitutes how you sort of guard against it.
Fair play. I actually don't think there's any people that is a I think then you're probably a psychopath if you are. I think most people are just not been guided well enough or got the help they need. And hopefully the most people, they're getting into a good group and they can see, okay, this is actually how we should behave. And a lot of them need to get guided. Then I would say there's probably a little bit with the ego. There's always the ego who get in the way for all of us. And it's about maybe being guided around that, I think is a key thing. And then I think also it's human nature. It's back in history. You want to be part of a clan. We want to be part of something. And you feel you're accepted and part of something, you're like willing to do more. So if you get into a good environment, good culture, you feel, oh, I'm part of something. Most of the guys that maybe are borderline big egos, maybe we get around them and they get guided in the right way. And the best cultures is the ones where it's not me telling it all the time, but it's the players who's doing it within.
Sorry, just as a follow-up with that in mind, when it comes to bringing anyone into the club or whatever it might be, do you not really look at their sort of, if there's any sort of character references in the past, is it more when you actually deal with a player up front, that's when you really can tell what
Yeah, but we take massive references. Massive, big on it. On any players done in the past, we'll do it the same. And of course, there are some players you are taking in that is like, okay, he's a 10 out of 10, perfect. Others are not 10 out of 10, but they can't be too low, of course. But then you think, okay, I think with our culture, it'll work anyway.
Matt?
Can you talk a little bit to us about building a squad and for modern football, for Champions League campaign? When you look at, for example, your front unit, whatever, however you classify it, do you want two of each? Is variety more important than anything?
I think the perfect picture, unfortunately it's not that perfect a lot of times in football or on clubs, in my opinion, is that you have 20 plus 3 players. That's a perfect. 2 in each position. All of them robust. Of course, you can get injuries. And then you need... You probably don't need 20 top players because I also need that balance of everyone can get enough minutes. So it feeds their ego and where they are in their stage of career and everything. So that's the perfect scenario. It's not that often you get that.
But when you look at Tottenham's injury record last season, does that come into your planning, or do you have to almost forget about it and say you can't legislate?
No, that's 100%. Of course, it come into the planning. We had too many injuries last year, so we can't get around that. Hopefully, with some of the processes we set in place or put in place, that can help. But it also, with that in mind, of course, we need to be aware that it's a long season, and I said it from the beginning. Hopefully, we're going to play 60 plus games, so that we need to be good enough on the building the players, good enough in doing a rotation at the right time, which is an art and very difficult, and be good enough to have the right amount of players, because you can't have too many, because that's also not good.
Sort of on that, looking at sort of about central defence, then you've got, are you in the market for another one? Is Vuskovic gone to Hamburg and why? And who are your options in there? When you talk injuries, what's Mickey's situation? Is he going to blow through every game, or is it going to be one of those where you have to?
I think Vuskovic, there's definitely something on that. That he maybe will not be in the club this summer. We have right now 3 centre backs: Mickey, Romeo, Danso, and Ben can play there if necessary. We have Cotta, a young central defender we got this summer, that is training with the team, running now, training with the team next week, or training with the ball. There's not many left behind. And then Dragason's come back in a couple of months. So I think that should be enough. Not necessarily, no. Not as that, no, yeah.
Matt.
Hi.
Just want to ask about the striker situation. Obviously, Richarlison's in such good form. Is there anything Solanke can do at the moment more to get into the team, or has Richarlison sort of made it impossible to drop for now?
I think it's all about performances. Richie has been fantastic in the pre-season. Played well, scoring goals. If you're playing well, scoring goals, you keep your shirt. It's difficult to put him out of the team, and I have no interest in doing that. On the flip side, I think Dom is a very good striker. I think Dominic have been, in my opinion, good for Tottenham. I know he had the injury and then had to come back, and maybe didn't show his highest level in the end of last season. But I think it's 2 good strikers, and we need 2 good strikers. We just said we're going to play 60 games, and with that we need both.
That competition obviously good for Tottenham for sure. Do you think, from Dom's perspective, that is a concern, particularly in a World Cup year, when he tries to get back into the English squad? Sort of situation finds him in?
I think that's very far away right now. I think he knows that he's a good striker. He knows that I like him. He knows there's competition. I think if he probably knew that he still, if he, let's say he was in team and he performed and Richie was pushing, it's the same for both of them.
And can I ask one about the conversations you have with players when the clubs sort of look and sign them? You spoke last week, you only want players here who want to be here. Maybe there's going to be news today that clubs signed someone who was also strongly linked with other clubs. But in general, how do you sort of convince yourself that a player does want to be here when you're speaking to them?
I think when I speak to them, I'm pretty direct and honest in how I see the player. Of course, I want to sell the Tottenham project, of course, but I'm also direct in terms of how I see their role and what we hopefully can make them to become, but also that it will be a fantastic journey, but also can be ups and downs in that journey, and there's bits I need to work on. We go into that. How can I say, sign off? I would like the player, but the player also needs to sign off to the project and the role.
Jacob.
Thomas, you said before about players having an ego. Presumably, though, there's a good type of ego and a bad type of ego. They need to have that when on the pitch, don't they?
100%. They need to. We all have the ego. We can't live without the ego. None of us would have been in this room probably being in the position you guys are. I am Anthony. We don't have an ego that can push us a bit. So I think that's hugely important. But I think it's important that it's not controlling you in many ways. And I always use that attitude as confident but humble. So you need to be extremely confident in your own abilities, but also humble about the team, humble about your role, humble about what you need to do. Humble about is every single day you need to put the hard work in. But of course, when you step on the pitch, when I step in here, you need to look confident, but I'm not humble to do all the hard work. Forget it.
You meet a player who maybe doesn't come across as having that kind of humble attitude. Are you immediately put off? Or do you think that I'd like to get in there and work out what's going on?
I've met a few over the years. I think it's important to try to understand the player. I think it's so easy to say, oh, he doesn't have enough or you have too much, or it's the easiest way. It's my job together with the coaches to maximize their potential. To maximize their potential, I need to get to know them and try to get into them.
Finish with John, please.
I was wondering if you could give us an overview of this transfer window compared with the ones you've had at Brentford. Has it been a bigger pool because of financial? Tottenham got a bigger financial pool. You're looking for. Was it a smaller pool because you're looking specifically for Champions League? How have the numbers changed?
If any, a smaller pool, I would say. But probably this similar, with just a couple of levels above in terms of what you're looking for. But when you're looking for better players, there's not that many. And we all want the best and the perfect one, that perfect number 10 I described before. There's very few of them out there, if any. So when you do that, there's always some doubts in something. Of course, there is. But it's been a good learning. It's the same processes, but of course I need to get to know how people work here and how the processes are. So that means there's been more work this summer than there's been the other years in Brentford, except the first couple of years, of course. Which is natural.
It seems that other clubs have been involved more. Is it more like you've got to fend off the predators as well as rivals, as well as convince the player?
Say again. So.
You've got to fight, and the club itself has got to fight other clubs that are fighting for the same pool of players.
Yeah, but to be fair, I think it was the same in Brentford, just on a different level. We just competed against other clubs, also wanted the players, so it's the same. There's just a few more you guys in here asking questions, and a few more to digging out stories that's maybe there, maybe not there, but that's the biggest difference.
Is it a stressful period for the manager, or was it?
If I'm, my preferred thing is of course just to coach the players, develop them, train on the pitch, play the matches, ups and downs. This is, it's part of it. So I'm like quite pragmatic. I know I need to do it, and I also want good players in, and you also. So it's fine, but I prefer the other bit.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Yeah.